Michigan City Fire Merit Commission will now come to order. Would you join me in the pledge, please?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Now I have a roll call. Mr. Zachnow?
Present.
Mr. Pollard?
Present.
Mr. Jackson?
Present.
And Mr. Deutscher?
Present.
Mr. Williams? All present. Now we have a discussion on the election for president that has been tabled for a while.
I would move that we proceed under the same direction that we are now following. Can I get a second?
I second it. What does that mean?
That means that Mr. Williams will be our president.
I've already turned it down. I don't want to be the president. So now where we go? Still open for discussion.
Mr. Jackson has volunteered his.
Yeah, I was going to nominate Commissioner Jackson.
He's volunteered his services. We appreciate that. So you're nominating him?
Sure.
I'll second it.
Mr. Zachnow?
Yes.
Mr. Deutscher?
Yes.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Pollard?
Yes.
Mr. Williams, yes. Our new president is Mr. Jackson, Ricky Jackson. Can I get approval of the minutes for February 12th? Special meeting?
I'll move the approval.
Second.
Mr. Zachnow?
Yes.
Mr. Deutsch?
I wasn't present.
Okay. Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Pollard?
Yes.
Mr. Williams, yes. For the February 25th special meeting?
I'll move the approval.
Second.
Mr. Pollard?
Yes.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Deutscher?
Absent.
Wasn't it? Mr. Zachnow?
Yes.
Yes. Minutes approved. For the March 25th special meeting?
I'll move the approval.
I'll second it.
Mr. Zachnow?
Yes.
Mr. Deutscher?
Absent.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Pollard?
Yes.
Mr. Williams, yes. The April 1st regular meeting minutes?
I wasn't here. You have to.
I'll move for the approval of the minutes. I'll second.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Deutscher?
Absent.
Yes. Mr. Zachnow?
Yes.
Minutes approved. The April 18th executive session minutes?
I'll move the approval.
Second.
Mr. Zachnow?
Yes.
Mr. Deutscher? Mr.
Yes.
Jackson? Mr. Pollard?
Yes.
Yes. The April 23rd executive session minutes?
Mr. Williams was absent on that date, but the minutes reflect him signing it, so I think that has to be changed. So we could either move the approval with that name being changed, or wait until it's corrected and do it at the next meeting. Whatever.
You just want to bring up an amendment to delete Mr. Williams' name. I'll second it, and then we can go ahead tonight.
Okay, I will move the approval of the April 23rd executive session minutes with Mr. Williams' name being deleted since he was not present. And
I'll second that motion.
Mr. Pollard?
Yes.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Deutscher?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Minutes approved. Communication and claims.
I have claims for payments for the commission, for our attorney, and for the secretary. Total amount $1,488.50. Move the approval of that claim.
I'll second.
Mr. Pollard?
Yes.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Deutscher?
Yes.
Mr.
Yes.
Dagnow? Yes. Approved. Budget report?
Budget report, we've got problems. We are at 56% of our allocated budget at the present time, and as a result of retirements, quits, and I'll use a term that we used in for-profit accounting, transfers, because we actually wound up with a transfer from here to a fire department in Indianapolis. So as a result of that, we had a situation, just to go into two of them. Number one, we had not planned for that transfer. Number two, we had an individual who went through our total training process, then received an invitation to go with another corporation, wound up accepting that. So as a result of that, we have two unplanned situations that we're going to have to make up for. And what we're going to do is, along with the chief, and he can let me know if he disagrees with this, we're going to send two people to the fire academy in September, as I understand it. Those will be the two people that will make up for those situations. And as a result of that, the cost to go to that fire academy is $3,000 per person. Plus, I'm going to need another $2,000 per person for meals and transportation. So you're looking at $5,000 for each of the individuals that we're going to send over there. Plus, since I'm going to have to write a letter to the mayor about this and go through a number of chains of command situations, I'm also going to ask for another $2,000 for applicant testing, because applicant testing and putting out various messages that we are accepting applications for the fire department, and we're going to have to do that testing this year, because this is the year that we test for our applicants, and we're going to really have to put on, I think, a lot of effort to get the applicants in here, because frankly, when we look at applications, by the time we get through, we're in a situation where when we look at that application from the time forward, they take the academic testing, they take the physical agility testing, they take the ladder climb, they do the interview, and then they go through perf. We wind up with maybe 15% of our applicants making it through. Now, some drop out for various reasons, but as a result of that, I'm going to ask for another $2,000 for applicant testing. So my letter to the mayor and to the other fire department heads that I have to contact, well, I'll be asking for $12,000 as a supplemental appropriation for our budget. Anybody have any problems, questions? Okay. Now, next one. Since budget hearings start in June, I've already started to make out a list of the things that we're going to have to do. And so let me just jot down what we're going to be asking for starting out. If anybody has any questions on this, don't be afraid to ask. But I think we're going to need, and I've talked to the chief about this, it looks like at least 5 new firefighters based on the information that he has in terms of possible retirements et al. As a result of that, we're going to ask for $25,000 for firefighters to go through the fire academy, go through the various processes that we have. It would be great if we could come up with people on other fire departments that have already been through this, and we could save some money that they wouldn't have to go through the academy. So if anybody's got friends out there, don't hesitate to let them know that we're taking applications. But it is very expensive to do this. So as a result of that, we're also going to have other situations. Number one, Ricky Jackson is working on a corporation that does testing for individuals who are looking for promotions, and I know he's talking to people about that, so that will be in line for next year, not this year. And that's the budget we're talking about in June. The process starts in June, so I then have to go before the city council or submit it, and then the city council, if they want to talk to me, will call. But the process starts in June, so hopefully we can work something out with that situation also. Any questions so far about that? Because it does start in June. Okay. That's all I've got for right now. I'll keep you informed as to how it goes.
I'll move for the approval of the budget report.
I'll second it.
Mr. Pollard?
Yes.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. George?
Yes.
Mr. Acknow? Yes. Okay. Resignation of firefighter Kevin Hudson, effective 4/30/2019.
Yes. Firefighter Kevin Hudson resigned, as you stated, effective 4/30/2019. So I'd like permission from the commission to continue down the list until we find the next applicant. The next individual that's on the list had contacted us and said that he's not interested anymore. So he got a job somewhere else. So if I'd like permission to continue down the list. This individual contacted us because when we usually try and contact two when we get ready to send them down for a test in case one fails.
You're talking about sending them down for perf.
Correct. So that's what I need permission to continue on the list.
Well, I'll move to give the chief permission to go to the next one on the list.
I'll second.
Mr. Pollard?
Yes.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. George?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Acknow?
Yes.
Okay. Was that it with that one, Chief?
Yep.
Report from City Council Representative? Guess he's not here. Report from the Commission Attorney?
We are currently in the process of scheduling the remaining appeal hearings. I know we're trying to coordinate the dates, and that seems to be a bit difficult at times, so those are still in the process. That's all I have.
Thank you. Report from Union Local 475?
We have nothing to report at this time.
Report from Fire Chief Randy Novak?
The Recruit Academy graduation is set for June 4th. So everybody mark your calendar. Now here's the kicker. It starts at 7 a.m. our time. The reason for that is one, it's South Bend time, so it starts at 8 o'clock. But as you know, their mayor is very actively politically, and that's the only time that he can be there is from like 8 to 9. Today the recruits were out at our training center doing some live burns with some of the guys that are here today. So far the exam scores for the 5 recruits averages 98.23, so they're doing a fantastic job. The officer training class that was held April 30th, May 1st and 2nd, retired Chief John Sulka and Chief Rick Lasky were the 2 presenters for the 3-day officer training. This was the joint training, as I stated, between LaPorte and South Bend, and the attendance was very good, and it was a very exciting class. So, work anniversaries for the month of December, for the month of May, jumping ahead, is driver operator Brandon Lee. You'd already stated Kevin Hudson's resignation. You already got that. Probationary firefighter Jake Kubas started on shift and will be attending the next fire academy in September. We're very proud of all the members of the Michigan City Fire Department. The new ISO rating, we lowered it from a 3 to a 2. So just to give you an idea, this is achieved by less than 1/4 of 1% of departments in the country. So, of the 50,000 that are evaluated, we're to 2. So it's congratulations to the men and women of the fire department. The water department and the 911 center actually play a part in that also. So it's a big major accomplishment. So that's it. That's all I got.
Question, since they're using our facilities, do we get a reduction in the cost? Can we ask them for a reduction?
You can ask them for anything.
I will. Who do I send a letter to?
You know, you come on June 4th and ask them for a refund check. No, absolutely.
Any other comments? Okay. Old business. Discussion of appeal of firefighter 1, April 18th hearing.
I want to make a motion that we suspend his driver's operator's pay for 89 days based on reinstating him when the chief's office and the training department says he's qualified to do the job as driver operator.
Any discussion?
With that, in the interim, if he's passes the
Do we
test-
have a second for this?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, let's get a second, and then
Well, if we get a second,
Well,
we
I'll
have to vote on it.
I'll second it just to get it on the table and
Yeah.
reserve time to speak.
Your second?
Yeah, yes, I do.
Any discussion?
Well, I'd like to amend that because what I want to do is basically the same thing, but he just said suspend his pay as a driver operator. I want to suspend his pay as a driver operator down to the level of firefighter because he is not going to be acting as a driver operator in this situation. He will be a firefighter. Go ahead.
I mean, are you guys both talking about the same thing, or are you talking
Yeah.
about 2 different things?
No, it's the same thing. I just was putting it so that we spell out that we're not suspending his pay. We're suspending his pay as a driver operator down to that of a firefighter.
Right.
Right. Do I get a second for my amendment?
I'll second it.
Any more discussion?
What was your, is it for 89 days flat, or is it if within that time period, they come back and
The
say,
chief
"We
and
think he's done the training and he can pass the things, it could be 60
anytime they can
days,
come back and
45 days.
we'll reinstate it, right.
Then he should be, so he could move for reinstatement prior to the 89 days.
If the chief and the
89
training
days
officer
would be
agree,
max.
yes.
I'd be happy to provide updates for the commission, not public, at the next meeting, so that way you guys have an idea of where it's going, so.
Any more discussion?
Well, was that, so does your motion contemplate that he? could-
Yes, it does.
Okay, and just for the record, we will issue something in writing to the affected firefighter.
I have a question, if I may. So, if we do this, we do not want this to have to come back before the commission to reinstate it. We're actually going to give the chief the ability to redo that. Because, I mean, if he gets it done on the 89th day and the chief is happy with it, but yet we've got another 30 days, then this fireman's losing another 30 days pay. We want to make sure that the chief has the ability to move him back into that position as needed.
Does that 89th day fall on a merit commission meeting? I'm just wondering
Very doubtful because of the way the calendar works. I don't believe it does. So I wouldn't want it to be, we had our meeting on day 88 and then this fireman loses another 30 days pay waiting on us. That's not fair.
If the commission is okay, we'll leave it at, unless I bring something to you asking for an extension, the 89th day stands.
Okay.
All right? So, I mean, if for some reason it's not going right, something's not going right, then I'll come before the commission prior to the 89th day and ask for an extension.
Well, I would also allow you to come before the commission if you're satisfied the training officer.
Correct. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You're
Just
okay with that being in
For
your
clarity, the firefighter though could come to us too.
Right.
Right, okay.
When does the 89 days start?
Tomorrow.
It's your motion, so if that's what you want to do.
April 7th,
May.
May 7th.
April 7th?
or May 7th, I'm sorry. I'm way behind times. May 7th.
We have a
And a
motion,
second.
we have a second,
And we
right?
have a second.
Okay.
Have a roll call. Mr. Sagnow?
Yes.
Mr. Deutsch?
Yes.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Pollard?
Yes.
Yes. Discussion of appeal of firefighter 2, April 23rd hearing. There a motion on that one?
Well, I'll get it on the floor. I just need a second. I'll move that we uphold the suspension.
I'll second it so we can discuss.
Discussion? Any discussions?
I feel that the suspension should be only 2.5 days. That we should lower the suspension. That I don't think the chief's office had proved their case and they didn't investigate it properly.
I would just state my opinion for the record that I believe that the incidents alleged occurred, but I do agree that the investigation was not thorough and complete the way it should have been, and so there should be, I agree with you, there should be a reduction in the suspension because of that.
Any further discussion? So the motion was to
Uphold
uphold
the
the
suspension.
suspension, period. Right?
That was the motion. So do you want to vote on that? Yeah, we're going to vote on it.
Okay, we have a roll call. Mr. Pollard?
Yes.
Mr. Jackson?
No.
Mr. Deutsch?
No,
I'm abstaining because I wasn't there.
No. So I would move that we reduce the suspension by 50%.
I will second that.
Any more discussion? Mr. Pollard?
Well, I'm going to vote for it, but because I do think that there needs to be a suspension, but I do think that it should have been fully upheld. But I'll vote yes in this case.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Deutsch?
Yes.
Mr. Zagnow?
Yes.
Suspension will be cut in half. Any new business? No new business? Public comments?
I'm Mark Baker. I'm lieutenant on the fire department. And on April 15th, I sent you a letter in regards to the promotional. No comments up here tonight in regards to my letter. No reactions. Nothing has come. I would like to read my letter to you so that everybody here and everybody knows what I wrote to you. Okay, it says, Commissioners, this letter is to inform you that I believe that I've been grieved during the promotional testing process. On March 13th, 2019, after returning from vacation, I learned from a posting on a bulletin board at a station I was placed second on the promotional list for captain. As of this writing of this letter, I've had no notification for the list of captain. Okay, I contacted Commissioner Jackson to inquire why or how this had happened. He told me that he would investigate the matter and get back to me. Commissioner Jackson did contact me and stated that he did discover a calculation mistake and I would receive an explanation and a corrected score. As of the filing of this letter, no explanation or corrected score I have not received it. Okay. Prior to the April 1st, 2019 Merit Commission, I was approached by Commissioner Zacknow and Commissioner Jackson and told that even with the corrected score, I did not surpass the candidate that placed first on the list. When I questioned the number of corrected questions the candidate received, I was told 5. Of the 5 corrected questions, 2 were from clerical errors, 3 were from being ambiguous, more than one answer. I believe that I, as well as possible others, were aggrieved by the action of the Commission under the Merit Ordinance, Section 54-173-1A and Section 54-173-1B, stating the test shall be validated and germane to the job required. Okay, I also included the Merit Ordinance just in case you guys didn't have a copy of that, but therefore not allowing any candidate to challenge the validity, ambiguous or otherwise, of any question provided by Section 54-155-D1 and 155-D2. Okay, for the applicant challenging the general aptitude testing questions. Okay, I also refer back to the events of a special meeting that led to the promotional testing being postponed due to the possibilities if improprieties of individuals that may or may have not had testing questions, may have not been testing for the call, may not be testing and call for a special test. I also believe I was aggrieved by the Commission for not informing me of my position on the captain's promotional test and score to allow for appeal prior to the posting in the station and promotions of the candidates. Your meeting, just by your meeting here of March 25th, you already said that you were going to give me something in writing, and today, as of today, I still have not received anything. So I would like the commissioners to address that, if possible, and let me know what, where, how come, everything like that, because I do believe I should be in line for a promotion and should be number 1 on the list.
I apologize for not getting it to you sooner, but I do have with me a letter to you explaining the situation. I was a little late, as you saw, coming in, and I can give it to you now, but it was, I can give you a copy of it now. It is also going out in the mail. But I do want to correct something you said. He appealed 5 questions. 2 were clerical errors. Of the other 3, we only went with 1 that we thought.
And this is where my gripe is at. This is where I believe I was aggrieved. Like I said, none of this has been explained to me. When I spoke to you prior to the last meeting, I was told 5 questions. Now we're back to 3. We were 4.
No,
my question is, what is it?
Sir, I never told you. I said he appealed 5 questions. I didn't say we gave him credit for 5 questions. I said he appealed 5 questions. 2 were clerical errors. 1 we agreed with him on, that it was ambiguous, but the other 2 we did not. So that he got a total of 3 extra points.
But again, being that it was my thing is ambiguous questions. How can they be ambiguous questions under a validated, germane to the job test? We all know in the books, because we open this book open to where we can appeal our test. What are our candidates in our school are going to be doing? Because they're taking tests from the same type of test bank that we have. They're not allowed to appeal theirs. They go to one of the universities, get on the computer, punch their buttons, and when they're done, they're done. There is no appeal to an ambiguous question because they felt that this is also a right answer. The idea behind the validated germane to the job is it's the best answer that there is available, and this come out of the test bank. This is not somebody who just wrote the test. This come out of the test bank, and these are reviewed, peer reviewed, and validated through whatever book they're using. Suppose we were using the Indiana book, okay? So those were all germane, and this has been peer reviewed. The writers of the test, the authors of the test have reviewed their test and said, yes, this is the best answer that's possible for this question. And that's where my gripe is. How are we changing answers? I'm sorry, our proctor isn't fire related. You gentlemen are here for our commission, but I don't think any of you have fire degrees to be able to say that this test is wrong or this answer is just as right. And that's where I'm at with this.
Okay, that's a slightly different issue than when we spoke the first time. When we spoke before the last meeting, I was explaining to you what the numbers were. You've since sent us that letter, and we are gonna, act on that.
That's all I'm asking. Like I said, we need to get this straightened out. Here it is, May. We took the test back in December, so it's time to get this done and over with. Thank you.
And if you want, I'll give it to you right after the meeting.
Any other public comments? Any commission comments?
Yeah, I'd just like to reiterate the date, that we need to set the date for applicant testing. And understand that we're gonna need at least a month ahead of that date in order to circulate various ways of communication in terms of getting applications in. We post notices in various courthouses around. We put it out on social media et al. And we also put it in the News Dispatch. In certain situations, we are required to do that. And we don't get a lot of backing from the News Dispatch, but we still have to do it. So as a result of that, I need to get a date set so we can start with the idea of getting applications in here at least a month ahead of time. My comment. I would prefer September for applicant testing, but if you can do it in August, that would be fine. Let's don't put it off till October, because then by the time we get into the physical agility testing, we're into November and December. It gets cold out there.
When is the date the academy actually starts? Isn't that in September?
Well, yeah, but that won't have any effect on this, because these applicants are for the following 2 years. The applicants that come in now, assuming we don't have to do any retesting, we hold them in terms of the position they come in at for 2 years. So we'll get a new list in terms of appointees as of January 1. Any thoughts on dates? Or should we just hold this off to the next meeting? But by the next meeting, we're gonna have to come up with a date.
Well, we should pick a date in August then, right?
Fine with me.
Late August?
It's gotta be a Saturday.
I would say September 14th. That would be the second week in September.
Well,
Okay, but then we're doing the physical agility test at like the end of October or something, aren't we?
yeah, somebody said August the 14th. Is that what I heard?
No, I said September.
He said September.
Oh, he said August.
Right.
August 14th?
Now, is that a Saturday?
No, it would be the 17th, would be the third Saturday in August.
Anybody have a problem with August the 17th? Chief? Any problem?
He doesn't. Yeah,
Yeah, because we have to have your facility to. So tentatively, as long as the training department, it's okay, we can do it August the 17th?
can I get a motion on that?
I'll make a motion that we set August the 17th as the applicant testing date for the written
Written
test.
test, yes.
Correct.
I'll second it.
Mr. Zagnon?
Yes.
Mr. Deutsch?
Yes.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Pollard?
Yes.
Yes. The written test will be August 17th, 2019.
If anybody out in the audience has friends that are interested in the fire department, please let us know or have them put in an application, because we're gonna need them. Thank you.
Any more commission comments?
Just that, we have had the minutes available for a comment made at the last meeting. We're looking for a way to get them out there so that you guys have more of an opportunity to review them ahead of time before we vote on it. I'm not sure if we can put them on the website or not, but I'm looking at it.
Any other comments?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Meeting's adjourned. The next meeting will be Monday, June 3rd, 5 p.m. Thank you.